We're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. If I could ask everybody to stand. I know I just asked you to sit. I'm sorry, but let's do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's probably going to be the most formal step that we take here today at this celebration, because the way the story goes, if you know anybody that's been around long enough and has been promoted or received some kind of an award, for instance, back in 2006, I was promoted to sergeant, and back then, what they did was you went into the chief's office on your day off, maybe, wearing your shorts and t-shirt, went up to the desk, the secretary handed me a box, and inside this box was a number of secondhand used sergeant's badges, and she said, go ahead and pick the best one. So I kind of reached in past the ones that were bent and broken and were charred from fires, whatever the case may be, and picked the best one. If you were fortunate, the chief would come out and say, hey, congratulations, and go out there and be somebody. So in the years since, that kind of transformed because we recognized that that was not the way to do things, and suddenly it became really, really formal, and there was a lot of pomp and circumstance around it, and everybody was in the auditorium, and the people who were getting promoted would have their hands tightly on their knees, and everybody in the audience felt the same way. And if one of the children pointed up to the people and said, that's my daddy or that's my mommy, we'd shush them right away, and this is very important, very formal. So we've reached a happy medium, and I want everybody to know, feel free to get up, take pictures. We're very fortunate today to have a beautiful venue in which to do this. The people at the Whaling Museum have been great. I couldn't ask for any more. I'd like to recognize Sean Dessar from the Events and Planning Office of the Whaling Museum for giving us use of this room. Very much appreciated. So we're here today to give promotions, and we're also here today to hand out some awards for outstanding service. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize City Council Ryan Pereira is here, and City Council Linda Morat is here as well. Thank you for your attendance. It's also very customary to begin with an opening prayer or prayers. So I would like to invite our department chaplain, Reverend Lima, to the podium to say a few words.
And Lieutenant, you're the only one who ever got a used badge. Just sorry to break that to you in public.
It was 2 in the morning, too.
It is important for us to recognize, and especially in prayer and before the Lord, it's important for us to recognize people that, go through the effort to not only get their education to get promoted, but to also do the work. It gets recognized in order to be promoted. There's more responsibility and all. So there's that we need to lift up in prayer. And when it comes to life-saving awards, all the training in the world can prepare you for the possibility of a circumstance. But the event that takes place where you're able to continue to do the work that you've been trained to do, but still have the presence of mind not to panic, to be able to do what's necessary to save lives, to help a life, to do all that's necessary with the training. There's that physical, but then there's the mental. And so I want to congratulate ahead of time those that are going to be honored today. Let's bow our heads. Lord, as we come here this morning, we are so grateful for the men and women of the Bedford Police Department, for the work that they do and continue to do to protect our city, but also to help bring life to so many different neighborhoods and to do the things that they do each and every day. Today we recognize those who are being promoted, and we ask that they would be given the wisdom that's necessary, the strength and perseverance that they will need, and Lord, the ability to always make the right decision and to own any other decision that's made, but to always continue to do the best that they can. Lord, for those that have saved, are getting life-saving awards, we are so grateful that they're in our midst. We are so grateful that they have stepped up when the time was necessary. They were able to do what was necessary to protect life and property. Lord, for this, we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Reverend Lima. I would like to invite somebody who's become a great friend to the department in recent months. He is a prominent member of the Islamic community and hails from the Muslim Cultural Center in Dartmouth, Mr. Martin Benz.
Thank you for this honor. I'll start with Salam Alaikum. Peace be with you all today. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most merciful and most compassionate. We thank God for his protection and guidance at all times. We thank God for instilling bravery and strength into all the officers honored here today. We thank God for the brave officers who brought to safety those who were in harm's way. May God reward them for their courage and valor even in the most dangerous conditions. Their commitment to put safety of others above their own safety inspires us all. We also thank God for the perseverance and strength of those who are being honored today in a promotion in their duties, and may God give them guidance and strength. May God guide us and support us, and them especially, as we continue serving this community. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Benz. If I might invite City Councilor Linda Morad to the podium to speak, please.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today to represent the city and the City Council. I'm joined, as you heard, by my colleague Ryan Pereira from Ward 6, and it's an honor to be included here to congratulate these men who are being promoted after many years of service to the city of New Bedford, and to thank those that are being given recognition awards for your service and for your bravery. This is an absolutely wonderful police department in the city of New Bedford. We support it 100%, as you all know, and we thank you for your good work. We ask you to continue to always be safe, and we thank the families for your support of the officers, the men and women of the New Bedford Police Department. On behalf of Councilor Brian Gomes, who can't join us today, the Chair of Public Safety, we have recognition certificates for each one of you. The Lieutenant will take care of the distribution of that after the ceremony. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Deputy Chief, and all of you for what you do.
Thank you, Ms. Morad. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Paul Oliveira.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, City Council, and we always appreciate your support. You've been very supportive of the department. That means a lot to each and every one of us. Let me first begin by thanking Nate and Trevor for their patience in this long-awaited promotional ceremony. Both of them have already attained their rank. However, they were never recognized at this level just because it was done on different days. So we said in order to hold off. So they've been long awaiting this. And they've served their roles admirably in that time, so I'm proud to have them here today. I also thank Steve, Jason, and Andy for their patience and also their long-awaited promotional process. At a time in our country when law enforcement is struggling to hire and retain police officers due to the negative climate surrounding our profession, I am glad we are here today to celebrate something positive. Although this ceremony won't permanently eradicate the negativity, it gives us hope of what is to come. I hope this is an exciting day for all of you, and I want you to enjoy this day with your family and friends. But I also want to remind you that today is a new door. A new door is open in your law enforcement career. Yes, it will bring you more money, but it will also bring you more challenges. With your promotions, your new roles and responsibilities will change, and so should the lens that you view your own profession and coworkers. As I'm sure Nate and Trevor already know, others will also view you with a different lens than they did yesterday. Some have already made expectations of you. They are saying you will do one thing or another because they are your friend, because you worked in a special assignment, because of who you know or who you think you know, or because of how much time you've had on the job. My best advice to you is to do your job. It may not always be the most popular thing to do, but it'll always be the right thing to do. You are all now in supervisory roles, which will allow you to shape the profession into the future. The decisions you make will guide and mentor the next generation of police officers. As you know, we have more rookie officers in our ranks than ever before. 3 of them here today who just graduated yesterday. They are counting on you for your guidance and your support. Be the positive role model they deserve to have, and above all, be sure not to let them down. The decisions you make will be the reflection on the department's image and reputation to the community we serve. It's not my intention to scare you before entering your new role. I want to be clear. I have the full confidence in all of you and the decisions you will make. And remember, you, as are all of us, are human. You will make mistakes. When you make a mistake, admit it, fix it, and move on. Be the role model to your officers that you will always be proud of. As you get pinned shortly by your family and loved ones, remember they are here today celebrating this day with you with pride. Continue to make them proud and you will forever succeed. Congratulations to all of you. I assure you we are here to support you and make sure you do not fail. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. We're very fortunate in New Bedford that the department is large enough to handle the calls that we receive, but it's also small enough that we get to know each other on a personal level. So before we begin our promotions, I'd just like to say I've worked with all of these people, and I feel very fortunate both as a member of this department and as a citizen of the city to know that we're putting people of this caliber in charge. So we're going to begin with the promotion of Captain Nathaniel Rodriguez. If you would stand, please, Captain. And he is going to be joined at the front by his daughter, Adriana, who will be doing the pinning. Again, you can feel free to come up and take pictures if you like. Sergeant Trevor Sylvia will be joined by Monica and Julia, will be doing the pinning. Don't worry about how sharp it is, just force it down. Don't stop until you hit bone. Sergeant Stephen Guads, joined on stage by his wife Doreen. And I have to admit, because he's such an old friend, I'm particularly proud to say Sergeant Jason Ganji, joined by his mother Mary. Sergeant Andrew Ryder. Sergeant Ryder is going to be joined by his wife Simone, who is also a sergeant with the Mattapoisett Police Department. Middleborough, I'm sorry. Middleborough, excuse me. Sergeant Ryder is, they're of equal rank here, but at home he's still outranked. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for all of our new ranking officers. When we begin as police officers, we take an oath, and the oath is to protect and to serve, and it's basically a promise that we're going to act when we're called upon. So, you know, oaths, they're just words, right, until the people who take them are tested. It's often said that it's not the oath that leads us to believe in the person, it's the person that leads us to believe in that oath that they take. So they lead us to believe that in the way that they act out on the field and the decisions that they make and the courage that they show. So I'm very proud to be able to move our ceremony to the next phase, which is the awards portion. These officers have performed amazing feats, even for police officers. They've gone outside their call of duty. They've gone outside the day-to-day of what police officers are normally involved with. So I'll be calling some officers up, and we'll be distributing awards by the incidents that they were involved in. I'd like to call up officers Alan Kubik, Brandon Cabral, Mohammed Mir, and Robert Green. On July 19th, it was shortly after midnight, right after roll call, units were dispatched to 415 County Street for a reported fire. These are the Roosevelt apartments, and they are heavily populated with tenants. When the officers got there, they saw that a portion of the building was engulfed in flame. They entered this building, and they began to evacuate the tenants. They had to keep the presence of mind to be able to evacuate methodically, going floor by floor to ensure that nobody was missed. As a result, there was no tenant that perished in that fire that night. They even had their wits about them to conduct a roll call of the tenants outside to make sure that everybody was accounted for. 3 tenants who were escorted out of the building were octogenarians, right? People above 80. They were fragile. They were already overwhelmed by the smoke. They would not be able to get out of that building if not for the assistance that was given by the officers, who actually put them over their shoulders and carried them out of the building. So lives undoubtedly would have been lost that day if it was not for their actions inside of Roosevelt Apartments. And as a side note, Officer Cabral had stated that when he was inside the building, he was already beginning to get disoriented by the smoke, and if not for Officers Kubik and Mir entering and assisting him, he himself might not have been able to make it out of that building on that day. So I'd like to also add that Sergeant Paveo, who could not be here with us today, is also receiving an award. But ladies and gentlemen, life-saving awards for these officers. Let's give them a hand. These officers will be receiving a life-saving award certificate. They are also receiving a pin that they can wear on their uniform from now until they retire, and they're also receiving a special Chief's coin. Ladies and gentlemen, they're going to take a seat. With the exception of Officer Robert Green, everybody please take a seat. You're not in trouble, Robert. Singing the national anthem. No, I'm just kidding. Officer Green, I'd like you to be joined at the front by Officer Jenny Roman and Officer Trevor Betancourt. There's a reason why Officer Green has been asked to stay, and that is because he's actually involved in 2 life-saving incidents for which he's being awarded today. Many officers, go their career with having 1, possibly 2. So within such a short span of time, it's particularly commendable. These officers stand in front of you today to receive a life-saving award, and this stems from an incident on April 11th. Also shortly after midnight, about 45 minutes, they at least had time to break out a roll call and get some coffee. They responded to a house fire at 34 Sydney Street. There was heavy smoke and fire coming from the 3rd floor. While on scene, they learned that this house was still occupied by numerous tenants. Again, selflessly, not thinking about their own safety, they went into the house. The front door had to be breached by force. They did so without the benefit of having tools that firefighters normally had. All of these officers, none of them had the equipment that firefighters normally have, the Scott packs, the jackets, axes, things of that nature. The first floor had 2 adults and 1 newborn baby, just had been born a few weeks before. They made their way to the 2nd floor. It also had to be breached. 2 adults were in that apartment. Then the 3rd floor apartment was breached, and the fire was active most inside this apartment, and it was spreading very quickly. And for any of you who have been close to a fire that's burning, you know how quickly you can become overwhelmed by the flames and by the smoke, and it's not easy to push forward, but these officers did. On the 3rd floor, they found a man sleeping with a dog by his side. So yes, animals were saved in this call as well. All in all, 5 adults, 1 child, 1 dog, and 3 cats were saved. But it didn't end there. 1 person who was now in the outside in the backyard, they couldn't make their way to the front of the yard because the fire was still active and there was debris dropping from the wood and the shingles from the house. So they had to lift this person up and get them over the rear fence to avoid the fire as well as the falling debris. They called for the American Red Cross to come and assist as all the tenants were now displaced. And each of these officers had to go to St. Luke's Hospital to be treated for smoke inhalation. So maybe they got some after the fire, but that's another matter. So smoke inhalation is no joke, and people who inhale hot air to that point, they've been known weeks later to have a blister pop on their lung. It's not a joke to deal with fire. So receiving the life-saving awards today, these officers. Give them a hand, please. One more round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to call Detective Kevin Barboza up to the front. Standing alone, Detective Barboza. Would you like to do the national anthem? No. All right. Detective Barboza joins us here today, and this is why I had drugs on my mind, because it's a drug case. So, July 19th, 2022, they wrapped up an investigation it was done in cooperation with the DEA, and Detective Barboza is working with them. They wrapped up this case, and it was 10 dangerous, notorious drug traffickers arrested during this joint operation, which was referred to as Operation Dirty Water. Detective Barboza was the affiant in this case, which means it was his name on the search warrant, and he initiated a federal wiretap into the major players of this fentanyl distribution case. And this crew that was being investigated was responsible for spreading a lot of this poison throughout southeastern Massachusetts and Rhode Island as well. So, as a result of this investigation, 10 individuals placed under arrest. They now face heavy charges in the federal justice system. There were 15 kilos of fentanyl that was seized, along with $90,000 in cash and a 2021 Mercedes-Benz, which I think he's going to be assigned the Mercedes-Benz, I think, right, Chief, after this? All right. So this organization served as a hub for the illegal and deadly drugs to be sold on the streets of our cities. I don't have to tell you all what a scourge fentanyl has been on our streets, and the opiate epidemic. This week we just had overdose awareness, and we acknowledged the many deaths that these drugs have taken their toll on us. So for his involvement in this investigation and for the arrest and for the seizure, he is being presented today with the Chief's Award for Honorable Service, Detective Kevin Barboza. So we promised you brevity, and we're going to deliver on that. I know this is midday. Thank you so much for everybody coming today. We have a beautiful venue. If you want to step outside and take some photographs, that door is unlocked. This one is locked. We have this room for as long as we need it, so feel free to hang around. Thank you very much. One last round of applause for all our promotions today and for our award recipients.